in case you didn't know, I am going on tour this summer. Go to mcchris.com and check out all my tour dates. Over 45 shows. We're coming to your town, or we're not coming to your town. Please let me know if I'm not coming to your town in the comments on any place you see this podcast. Let me know where we should go. If I have a day off and you'd like to book a show with me, write me at mcchrisbooking@gmail.com. Otherwise, if you'd like to just come see a show and celebrate 20 years of touring with me, go to mcchris.com and get your tickets today. Okay, let's start the podcast.
What was Inception about?
That
was like where the ceiling turned upside down and stuff, right?
Say it again.
I said that was like the movie turns into like an Escher drawing, right? Like the guy's walking up down the stairs when he's upside down and the other guy's on the other way.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that an instance like you can be too smart? Maybe that was too smart. Majority of people going to watch it and say like, I don't know what the hell that was about.
Yeah, I think you're told as a writer to be smarter than your audience or play to your most intelligent audience member. But
I mean, you can go.
I don't know who Chris Nolan is playing to.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking. That was Stephen Hawking. That was a movie.
That was a great movie.
I loved it.
I totally got it.
That DiCaprio is on fire. That guy had mistresses. Was
he sexually active?
That's what I'm saying. He had mistresses. That is
Let me finger you.
Powerful his game is.
Butler,
not one.
Come in the room, finger her.
I will watch. Multiple.
So satisfying.
And then imagine how mad as his wife you'd have to be. Like, I put up with all your shit. I take care of you because you can't do anything. I mean, but you know what I mean. No disrespect to Stephen Hawking, his corpse. But then on top of that, my thanks for like, didn't they make a movie where like how he fell in love before he got in the chair and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
His thank you is he goes out and just grabs mistresses.
I appreciate everything you've done for me.
Mm.
Could you go to the grocery store for 4 hours?
Yes.
What would it be like if E.T. and Stephen Hawking had a conversation?
Exactly the same. It's just E.T.
I'll be right here, and
so will I.
I will be here too.
Mm.
I guess we're not going anywhere.
I have this in my wallet all the time. Now all the time.
Finally, I get to see the wallet. I was wondering about this.
Now this is the newer version. The old one is still in my home.
He's got
E.T. Adventure Passport, which is what they would give you when you got in line for the E.T. ride, because they would ask you what your name was. So you'd go up and say, like, Chris. They're like, all right, Chris. And they'd give you this. And you'd carry it for about 40 feet. And then when you got on the ride vehicle, which was the little bike, the BMX bike, they would then take them so that the high point of the ride, the end of the ride, and if nobody knows what this ET ride is, it is the most fucked up ride in the history of any ride that's ever been made. It's the beginning is normal and very much like a cool classic Universal Studios ride. It's like big real stuff. You know, like when you go on a Disney ride, like the pirate ship's maybe like a little bit tinier and looks a little more whimsical and things. But the rides at Universal Studios were like, if it has to be a cop car, it's just going to be a real cop car. Like the movies. They approached it like they're in the movie. So the beginning of the ride, you know this. You've been on this, right? Yeah. The beginning of the ride is exactly kind of like the E.T. movie, that you're a little group of kids on your BMX bikes. And it's like the Peter Pan ride where you're hanging from the ceiling. You're suspended. so that you can. I remember at one point that was real cool. You like sort of jumped over a jump and then landed on top of a cop car, and you could kind of hear like it go like foo-foom, foo-foom, like the tires as if they were hitting the thing. All that's fine. That's regular classic. Then you go to fucked up town. You go into space. So E.T.'s head would pop out of the center BMX bike, because it was like 8 bikes that you were on your little pod. And then you go into space, and then you go to E.T.'s home planet, which was just simply the most acid trippy, fucked up place in the universe. There were like every creature. Some of them kind of looked like E.T., but there were other creatures that like just like a vagina face and like weird bald dude, and everything looked nightmare inducing. And they're all talking and they were singing some kind of weird fucked up song, but like all of them were based, their subtext was all like, kill me. I do not wish to live. I shouldn't exist. And then the end was like, you finally saw E.T. as you were driving by. By the way, there are videos.
See you next time, Matthew.
And I'm not, he's like, hi, friend. And then he'd be like, Chris, David, Ivan, Amy, good. And then if they fucked your name up, or you'd had some weird ass name like, I'm Kiger Shavuski, he'd be like, friend. The default was just friend. But then you'd be like, man, E.T. said my name. I just read that they approached Steven Spielberg about doing E.T. 2 a long time ago, and that it was going to be on his home planet, of which apparently that's what those designs were maybe co-designed for. Like, we're going to see where it's now going to be. So we had the E.T., the extraterrestrial on Earth. Now it's going to be Elliot's extraterrestrial on E.T.'s fucked up planet of weird vagina face flowers and stuff. And you can watch this on YouTube. The whole ride is on there because it was still open at Universal Studios Florida even maybe like a year ago. They just turned the land it was in at Universal Studios into, what do you call it? DreamWorks land now. But that ride was still open. I mean, I don't remember the last time I went there. It was probably 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and it was still open. Chugging along.
He was a botanist.
It's a botanist.
Did you know that?
No.
E.T. was a botanist.
A candy-loving...
And he was going from planet to planet to collect plant samples to bring home to study.
To make more vagina-faced plants.
I was going to write a song about E.T., so I read, of course, the novelization.
Oh, your favorite, yes.
So I came to know that E.T. Communicated with plants telepathically. And when he's being chased by the flashlight keys guys in the beginning of the movie, all the plants are saying, run, run.
Wow. Hey, you know you should do? You do one of them overdubs. Like, add your voice to the E.T. movie, but just as the plants. Give a whole new perspective. Yeah. Do you think when they did that, so they hire some schmuck, right? Whatever his name, John Bocephus, like, we're hiring you to write this E.T. novelization. This is a white hot property. We got to keep this heat going.
Well, these guys get the scripts.
Yeah, but that's not in the script.
Before they get edited.
No, I know, but it's like he's not hearing. I can't imagine in the E.T. script it said, the plants are telling E.T. to run. So he does.
You don't know, man. Okay, so...
I guess my question is, how much leeway do you think he has?
Every April Fool's Day, I release a song.
Okay.
This year, it's about the Goonies. I'm reading the novelization right now. And occasionally a deleted scene will come up, or I'll stumble...
This may be after that anyway.
I'll stumble on some deleted scene or something that you didn't know. At the end of the movie, I love original endings that are horrible in movies. This might be my new thing that I love. But 2 monkeys have escaped the zoo, and they have stolen a car and are driving it through the town, and the cops are chasing them.
Wait a minute.
And this is 2 human beings in monkey suits. This was filmed, and Richard Donner was like, "I don't want to do this, Spielberg." And Spielberg was like demanding, this is Spielberg's idea, and Richard Donner was like, "If you want this in the movie so bad, you shoot it, because I don't want to shoot this. I can tell it's a dud."
Now, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Are there Easter eggs in the beginning? Like on the radio while they're sitting in a room, like 2 monkeys escaped from the zoo today. Is it like a callback?
I don't know if it's mentioned. I think the only thing that's mentioned is the octopus.
Because I feel like
they fight an octopus and Data brings it up on the beach. But they had to film that beach scene. That was a reshoot. That was a reshoot
with the parents coming and hugging everybody,
discovering the jewels, and like then them saving the houses, and it all happens in one scene. And it's just goes to show any writer who's listening to the show, don't do the crazy ending. Get as much done as you can in one scene.
Ending. What was the point of the escaped monkeys driving a car? Just that stuff is crazy?
Stuff is crazy at the end. See, I bring this up because my thought is Spielberg, obviously he's a genius. He changed the cinematic landscape. Sometimes he had bad ideas. Sometimes he made mistakes.
Do you think that prime
he was like,
example,
I love Fievel. Hear me out. What if we do a Western with Fievel? Everybody in the room must have been like, that's amazing, Mr. Spielberg.
Yeah. Do you think like the monkey thing was because like at that point, he didn't have to prove himself anymore. He was like the fat cat. Whatever that there was just then at that point, no one checks. I mean, you're going to make a movie about a shark? All right, but you only got this much money. So he had to like be crafty about it, figure it out. When your back's against the wall,
there's nothing like Jaws. There's something so perfect about it.
And also like how it, all the things actually made it better. Like the shark didn't work a lot, so they couldn't show it a lot.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of stuff contributed.
So much serendipity. We talked about this already. So much fate was at work, making this one of the best movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to repeat it a million times. But even Spielberg, it's like, you say Spielberg's got a new movie coming out, or Scorsese's got a new movie coming out, and I'm like, well,
yeah,
it's not quite what it used to be. It's just like we were talking about singers the other day, or rappers kind of not sounding as good, or their breathing ability is kind of deteriorated with time. Their ability to because rapping is like a lot of like desperately taking in gasps of air in between voluminous lyrics, and sometimes people just aren't where they used to be. Everyone has their kind of their amazing time, and then a lot of people stick around and kind of work that amazing time to their advantage, kind of like what we do. And but yeah, there's like a heyday, and then there's a buddy. What are you doing? Spies on a Bridge? What are we doing?
I went down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day, which culminated with me watching like the police or the county or something had wronged Afroman because I got high song guy who's still doing his Afroman song.
Yeah, we play the same venues. Surprised we never toured together.
He lives in like some super small, he lives in a weird town that sounds like a place a guy named Afroman would never choose to live. Like
Summit Hills.
But it's something like White Plains, Iowa.
Yeah.
Something, because even in the thing, he's like, I'm the only
Caucasian
black guy
Pennsylvania.
here. Yes, yeah, Caucasoid, Indiana. But he has this weird little drinking cup, his drinks cup that's like got his face on it. He has amazing, what do you call it? Marijuana leaf. What do they call that thing? Just the marijuana leaf?
Yeah.
A lot of themed track suits. It's like, this guy's really got it going.
Yeah.
Then they showed his house. Not too over the top. I guess that's why he lives there.
He's living within his means.
He's living within his means and making all the best of it.
Yeah.
It looks like a great place.
Yeah.
It looks like a place we could have.
If you don't overdo it, you can go forever.
Yeah. That's it. So he plays a lot of your venues, but you've never seen him.
No.
Well, I guess you never would because the guy was just there yesterday and you're going to be gone tomorrow.
There was one time I had a band that I was friends with called Protest the Hero, and we would leave each other little treasure hunts at venues as we both toured the same routes. And we'd give each other like directions on where to find the joint. You know?
Right. I see. Yeah. Little treasure.
Yeah.
We had one experience when we did our Aqua Teen tour. We like met a band in Seattle, and they were very nice. We were staying at like the same hotel, and we had we just all clicked. They were real sweet. And then like we ended up sort of crossing paths with them, 3 or 4 more times, usually at the hotel, not at the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I always wanted to go on tour.
What is the Aqua Teen tour? Why wasn't I the
invited?
opener? The opener.
You would have had to tour with us.
Yeah.
The openers were different everywhere. The opener was actually like, I think, the springboard for Puddles becoming Puddles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he opened for us in Philadelphia and in New York. And I think it was because he's from Philadelphia. But in New York, like all the agents came and the right guy was there, and it was like, you're going on tour. And hey, the whole that was like the whole start.
That's my big problem, and I realized this about halfway through my touring experience, and I'll be celebrating 20 years of touring this year. It's that I never. I do have a little bit of a costume. It's a black hat, it's a black hoodie, blue jeans. That's my costume, but it really doesn't. It's really kind of almost like an invisible.
It's not your costume because you're wearing it right now.
An invisibility cloak.
Yeah, it's kind of like your lifestyle.
You can't really notice me, but it is something that I wear consistently on stage, and I wore it on stage first, and then it kind of became my life.
Yeah,
but I realized, maybe in the past 5 years, it's like, man, these bands, every single band that's doing well has a crazy costume. They are Guar, or they are Ronald McDonald, or they are. They're doing something crazy, and it's every band that dresses up that has a really strong look. Well, are the bands that are succeeding.
The other side of that's brilliant though is if we were a band, you and I are a band, right? And let's just say like we dress up like fucking Lego guys.
Yeah.
Then you and I get in a fight. We don't talk to each other anymore. I could just hire some other guy and put him in the Lego suit, and you never know that it's not the same. I'll be like, "Do you rap?" I sure do, buddy. All right, you're in the band.
Or one of us dies.
Yeah, can you fit in this suit? Yes, great. And also, like Guar, we were talking about them the other day. Weren't we? That we're like buddies with? Yeah, because we were talking about. They also have a lot of people in them. It's not just like two. It's not like Daft Punk.
It's like Blue Man Group. It could be anybody.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Yeah. And what's the other one? Max Sabbath. That's who you were talking about, the McDonald guys.
Yeah. But there's bands that if you dress up like robots or you dress up like something, if people just, there was a point where it became less about the music and more about like, this is a birthday party for adults.
Yeah. I read an article, probably a couple months ago now, that was about, They had analyzed essentially pop music and said they had an exact date, like after like 1979, musically speaking, the musicality of pop songs has gone down dramatically. And the song they used as sort of the pinnacle of being complicated, but not outwardly, not like Inception complicated just to be complicated, was Love Will Keep Us Together, the Captain and Tennille song. They said it's got a very interesting range of melody, and the modulations are interesting. It's like sort of the height of songwriting is found in that song as far as a complicated but also catchy, exactly what a pop song could be. Mm-hmm. And now it's like gone down and it's all like just happy birthday, which would go in with why they have to wear costumes now.
I was making mixes recently, going through every year.
Thank you for this, by the way.
You're welcome. Every year on Billboard, going through and picking out songs that I liked and making mixes. And I started in the 1930s and got all the way up to like the mid 80s.
Wow.
And when I got to disco, I had an epiphany that disco is completely misunderstood, totally complex.
Yeah.
And like these are pop songs with like orchestras in them, and they're like songs you can dance to, and they're really like intricate. And I was like, you can't, because I had just finished like the 60s and the early 70s, and there was so much jam banding and the song fading out at the end of the song, and so much like 10-minute songs. Everything was real. Everyone was wasted, you know. And then disco kind of came up, and it was a very precise thing. Where, you know, this music was made by a really intelligent person. The person who arranged these disco songs was not an idiot.
Real dyed-in-the-wool musicians.
Yeah.
Like, and if you think, too, about how many disco albums were made by real musicians, and by that I don't mean like a Donna Summer album, but like Myron Florin had a disco album who played accordion on Lawrence Welk. I mean, say whatever you want about the type of music he played and the instrument he played, but he was a world-class, probably the greatest accordion player in the world. And he's adapting his music to disco because this was suddenly this thing that they all were thinking, I can now be accessible to kids. The cool kids are going to finally like me, Myron Florin, playing my disco version Beer Barrel Polka.
But then I grew up in Chicago, and there was like a disco sucks thing at was it Sox, the White Sox's baseball stadium or Wrigley Field, where they burned the disco records. It was some radio DJ got everyone together to burn disco records, and there was this anti-disco movement.
Yeah, they
really hated it.
Why did they hate it so much?
Because it was so cheesy, maybe. And like the rock that came before it was so different.
But I mean,
than this cheesy. I think if there's one word I would use to describe disco, it's clean. And I don't mean like people aren't doing coke, because they obviously were.
Yeah, fueled.
But it's such a precise thing. A Bee Gees song is like not a jam band song. It's like, it's very specifically what it is.
And you'd need hundreds of people to make that song.
Yeah.
As opposed to Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog is like there's just 6 stinky, sweaty guys in a room.
Yeah. Which I love that too. I mean, I love every single one thing I learned from making all these mixes is that I love every era of music. And as I was listening to all these songs, I was like, this is why I'm a musician. Because I fucking love this stuff. I never think about it. I just think like, oh, we better make some money or we're going to die is usually my thought in my brain. But,
to be fair, I feel like most people, regardless of what their occupation or interest is, feel like if I go make some money, I'm gonna
once
die.
you figure out what you can do, then you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can be a plumber.
What, how did Billboard start?
Billboard, well, it didn't start,
you said the 30s. Was that the start of it?
It wasn't. So it was much harder to find songs in the 30s and 40s. I think it started around the 50s when rock and roll happened, radios happened, charts happened. Okay. There was one thing I loved on iHeartRadio, which is you could listen to old Casey Kasem countdowns.
Oh, that's what I was going to tell you.
I love those things.
That in a minute. I have a lot of those. What do they call them? I have a large collection of vinyl.
Yeah.
But I have a large 40% of my collection, maybe 30%, is like the records that you would have as a radio station for like background music. What do they call that? It's library music.
Interstitial?
Library music. Like it could be, some of them are just, a 3-minute track, but it'll be like Children at Play. And it's like, so if you're producing commercials, you'd be like, come on down to the Water Mattress Barn where it's 50% off.
When I worked at Adult Swim, I was at the very end of my career there. I was with Pete Smith and we were making spots. We were making ads, commercials. And I was never allowed to use any existing music. When I first started, I knew all these bands, all these friends all these bands I was friends with, all these punk bands. And so I would use their music. Everyone was like, what the fuck are you doing? Nobody knows who these people are. Go to the Turner Library.
Oh, right. Go
to the Turner Library and I would literally, it felt like, how, I don't know if you ever did this back in the day, you go to the library, or even a music store, and you'd go to a listening booth and you listen to things. And I would listen to CDs and try to find songs, and I would find songs at the Turner Library.
Yeah.
Not a great library.
Bottomless.
But you could, but huge.
It's all like,
and
it's
just
a very
all about
narrow.
putting the time in and finding the song.
Like, I love listening to because I'm working on a thing now. We have access to their library. Like, the songs are never incredible for the kind of stuff I like. Like, nothing sounds old or interesting. It's all kind of in the same. You picture like some guy at his keyboard who's writing 15 songs a day for library music.
Yeah.
And
I love authentic shit from the time. Yeah. Like if I'm listening to music from the 1930s, the 1940s, or even the 1970s, and I hear some modern incarnation of what they thought something sounded like back then, you're just like, it's almost like, I don't know, you've got food poisoning or something. Something's not right at the beginning of food poisoning.
The one library album that I have that made me think of this, because I bought like a whole stack of them in Atlanta a long time ago at some cool record store that was not over by Junkman's Daughter. They was like
Criminal.
It was far out somewhere, and it was just a used record store.
Yeah.
This is all it is. It's like 40 tracks. And it's just like 7 people going, 1977. Next track. 1978. It's like 40 years. Just like clearly for some, whatever your DJ you bought the album for is like, and this is the number one hit in, hit it, Jerry, 1963.
I get really nostalgic for the radio stations I grew up on.
It makes your brain start to melt, though, when you listen to the whole album, because there's clearly these guys. I mean, it had to be one take. The harmonies are just slightly different, but just enough the same that they should never be like it could be like a torture device, because they should never be listening.
Make it stop.
I mean, like
turn it off.
Like after 7, you're like, yeah, okay, that's enough. We know what the rest is. Yeah, I used to love. What radio stations did you listen to?
B96, WXRT, WLS.
Well, what kind of
classic rock, pop music, and also there was an oldie station, WMJK,
which is like 50s.
Which was 50s.
Yeah.
I think my first music, I mean, the thing is, it's like you don't really think about, I mean, kids today are different. They know things a lot. They know pop because they're on their iPads and they're just hearing things through osmosis. But when I was a kid, you didn't really listen to music. I mean, you heard pop songs on MTV, but you didn't you didn't start to control what you were listening to until like 6th grade. And in 6th grade, I started listening to the oldies, and it was because I think there was so much nostalgia in the 80s for the 50s and 60s. And which has always happened. There's always like the people that they grow up to become adults, and then they write about their childhood.
Like you got Back to the Future.
Exactly.
And it's all in the Peggy Sue Got Married.
Exactly. But people were just obsessed with the 50s and 60s, and so they were all these movies with soundtracks. I love soundtracks. Soundtracks were like my first tapes. And that just kind of started, you'd see Good Morning Vietnam or something, or Animal House. You'd hear these songs and you'd get the tape, just listen to it over and over and over again. And then I kind of got into oldies, and I got into the Beatles. Like once you discover those things, like these are my first songs. And because 6th grade is like when you first start falling in love, so many 50s songs were like about love.
Soundtracks.
There was the soundtracks to my first crushes were these old songs that my mom was a teenager to. But yeah, I love that shit. But I loved everything. And my brothers, the cool thing about siblings is they are resources of content that you wouldn't have normally listened to. And so my brothers were all listening to classic rock, like blue collar rock, Springsteen, and
working class, rock and roll.
And
the guy's got the cigarette dangling out of his mouth,
and we love
a greasy rag hanging out of his back pocket.
Are you talking about the musician or the DJ?
The listener? Oh. Yeah, the listener.
This
DJ is for that guy.
Well, we loved radio so much that we worshipped the DJs. We knew who they were. We knew their names. They did a lot of talking in the morning while we were getting ready for school, and we would do our own radio shows and pretend to be them.
This place
Larry Lujak, WLS.
The place I go to plays this radio station that's here, and I can barely stand to listen to it. They do a lot of talking, but they are not of the ilk.
No, it's not
that
the
we
same.
are talking about.
It's like,
but also,
sometimes I'll be like, "This is a good radio station," and then I'll realize it's Jack FM, and it's like a robot is doing the
really?
is doing the mixing.
Oh, because what they're
doing
playing
the DJing.
and all.
Yeah, but
I
this is
used
a great
to listen
mix.
to.
This is really meeting all my needs.
Yeah,
It's almost scientific.
It's like
a robot
with
can read my
scientific type precision. I listened to AM 920.
Yeah,
that was and I remember, since we're talking about Aqua Teen Hunger Force in deep detail, when I first met Don Kennedy, he was like assisted living Dracula, and he was vegetable guy. When I first met him for real, I think we did this thing called Terror Phone. That was an extra on something. But I was starstruck, not because, like our friend Ned, they all got him because apparently in Atlanta, he played this character when they were little. They're like almost kind of a generation older than us. Right? They're like 10 years older around. But he had he played Officer Don, and he was like the after school, they would play Popeye cartoons, and he would do all the live things. So they all knew him. I had no clue he did that. What I knew was that on AM 920, every day there was a radio show like that was syndicated to all these different radio called Big Band Jump. And he was the host of it. And he was like, "This is Don Kennedy on Big Band Jump." I was like, never in my life. First off, I was shocked he was still alive. But I was like, wait a minute, Don Kennedy.
He was a favorite of Adult Swim creators.
I remember.
We used him on the Brack Show. He was the voice of the wizard in the rap episode.
Everyone laughing. Dave Willis with like this gleeful, like that. I remember him looking at me as he's saying it. I'm thinking, you don't think anything's wrong with that? He laughed and told me one time, like, he will do anything for $250. I'm like, that's not good. You sound like
it's senior abuse.
Yeah, you sound like an evil pimp in a movie that would he'll do it. Yeah, this guy's 75 years old. You got dressed up like a vegetable and climbing into a vegetable stall at the supermarket, like, just laughing about it. He'll do anything. So this poor old man is clearly desperate for money and loves performing. But we'll be there. We'll be there
someday. We'll be dressed up as Vegetable Man in a grocery store someday.
I mean, let me ask you this right now. Like, as far as right now in your life, right now, what is the tipping point that you would not do something? Like, let's say for a television show, they're like, we want to have you on the show, but you're going to have to do X.
I don't know. I'm a lot less. I care a lot less these days. And I would be curious.
Yeah. So what would that be?
I don't know.
Did you ever used to have a thing like
have your shirt off? That's a big thing for me. I hate having my shirt off.
So they were like, you can be in it, but you got to have your shirt off. And then the second part of that, the other moving part is, okay, how much would they have to pay you to have your shirt off?
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
and by how much? Like, what's the lowest amount you would accept?
I'm doing okay. I don't really have to do anything I don't want to.
So you wouldn't.
Very lucky.
You just say no.
I say no all the time. People are asking me. I mean,
please take your shirt off.
There's so many.
They're constantly asking you to take your shirt off.
Yes. Well, I am a rock god. Hey, so this is MC. If you'd like to advertise on our podcast, please write us at mattersnotpod@gmail.com. We also have a GoFundMe. All of that can be found on our Linktree, linktr.ee/mattersnotpod. Please make a donation. Help me pay for Dana's beverages. Help us pay for studio time and the art. And if we make enough money, we can hopefully start doing video and do all kinds of cool things. Please support us if you can, or advertise on our podcast by writing us at mattersnotpod, mattersnotpod @gmail.com.
Yeah. What's the most exciting thing lately that you said no to?
Oh, well, I don't want to.
You don't have to say names.
I don't. Well, no, I don't want to do that because
being on a TV show, being on somebody's album.
Well, I mean, I would be on any. I don't do any voice acting anymore, and I would love to do voice acting, but I wouldn't do it unless it was like corporate approved voice acting. Like I won't do a fan thing. I won't do someone's short film or their student film.
Well, that's all different. That's different stuff. I mean, because that's just such a weird, slippery slope.
I mean, as a rapper, people are constantly asking me to collab. Can I collab with you? Can we do a collab? How much for a collab? And there was a time where I'd be like, it's going to cost you this much money.
Yep.
And I'd be happy to do it. I hate every collab I've ever been in because for some reason
Did you have a number? What was your number to collab?
Oh,
hundreds?
No,
thousands?
a grand for 16 lines and $2,000 for a whole song, and which is really not bad.
A whole song would be like you have a song on the album, or you're in the whole song with someone else.
I don't. Well, collab is a collaboration between two artists. So normally it's like they would do a verse and I would do a verse, and they'd be like, "Hey, can you
when
tell
the
all your
singing,
fans? Can you tell all your fans about it?" Which is kind of what they really want.
Really,
let everyone know that I exist.
They just want the heat.
Yeah, and
when people ask you, the only thing slightly similar to that, I guess, is people ask me to be. Well, I get asked to be on albums sometimes.
Yeah,
but I get asked to do a podcast.
I've been meaning to tell you about this. Podcasts are so common now.
Yeah.
That I am getting podcast spam, which is obviously, and this has happened to me where somebody was like, "We think you're great. We want to give you $3,000 to be on our podcast," and it then shuts down my Facebook and I lose my, my bank account or whatever. Which I didn't lose my bank account, but my Facebook got shut down just because I was like, somebody was. Someone tricked me.
Open messages on your Facebook page?
No, well, someone was just like, we want to interview you because we think you're so awesome, and I should just know nobody thinks I'm awesome. I should know something. The jig is up right away as soon as you're being nice to me. But I've been getting letters nonstop from the Dana Carvey podcast, which wants to pay me $3,000 to talk about my artistic journey, and I'm like, that's not the name of his podcast.
Wow. This is very similar. In the last 2 days, so I have an old website that I used to have all my little goods on, right? And I got an email, I don't know, I think 2 days ago now, from some person, Nicole Hicks, not real, but it said, "Hi, I'm really interested in buying one of your paintings. I live in Maryland. It's for my 20th anniversary it's for my husband for our 20th wedding anniversary. Here's the key. Pay by check. Let me know what you have available. Something else."
Yeah.
Then I'm not thinking about it in a nefarious way. I think it's strange I got an email on this website through my website thing that I haven't done anything with in 5 years or 10 years. So I wrote back, I said, "Oh, well, this is interesting because I'm going to be in Richmond, and I literally just got stuff to make more paintings because I sell paintings at the shows." I said, "I just got more stuff. What did you have in mind?"
You paint?
Huh? I said, "What did you have in mind? Because I just got more stuff to do some." And then they write back again. Now, this time, the first time I looked at the email, and the email from the person was all gobbledygook. It's like, big A 7J1Q _ ampersand dingbats at wix.avinco. The follow-up email is suddenly from Nicole Hicks 08663 at gmail.com. So now it's like a legitimate email.
What is the most trusted name in America?
Right. Nicole Hicks. So then they write back, and she's like, "My husband is super into anything abstract or landscape. My budget
easy to shop for.
Yeah, my budget is $300 to $3,500. So quite a now. No one has a budget that's
my range.
Basically $0 to
$1 million.
Right. And then I wrote back again. I probably shouldn't have written back again, but I was like, you clearly have no clue because I have gotten things like that before, and they're that vague, but they prove to be legitimate. And I said, you clearly have no clue who I am or what I do. Also, it's real shady. You want to be paid in a check. I attached a link to an article from some artist website about how people scam you by saying they're going to pay with a check because there's no reason to pay for a check. Yeah. So I sent him that. Spoiler alert to the end of the story. I have not heard back from
I said to the Dana Carvey podcast, I said, well, this sounds interesting, but I don't really believe this is real because that's not the name of his podcast. And they just kept on. He wrote me today and he's like, just checking back in, want to make sure.
Why don't you just do it with this guy?
And you get so many.
Why don't you string him along?
I feel bad for senior citizens and people that are just.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm on the cusp. I'm kind of there. So lonely, desperate to talk to somebody, desperate to have their egos fed a little bit.
But also, they don't understand how nefarious Facebook can be.
Anytime someone's being nice, I'm like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
I hate Facebook.
I've been burned too many times where they're like, you have made a violation. I get all these emails. You've made the violation on your Facebook page. Write us. And then I'm always looking at the email, and it's always a Middle Eastern name.
That's like when they call and say you're going to be arrested by the IRS if you don't pay this thing. Like, really?
And I'm pretty sure the IRS would have sent me something. It just makes me think of my mom, and she's like, oh God.
They believe all that.
It's all happening.
Because they're of a generation, if somebody said something to you or you saw it in print, it is true. It is a fact.
Yeah, I think I saw my parents once, and they were like, we got hacked. I'm like, of course you did. Of course you got hacked, and of course they got your bank. They got into your banks.
We were talking earlier, Ivan and I, about the woman who owns this lovely studio we're in. She got bamboozled by her old weird boss who gave her a fictitious confirmation number for a flight. The last time she had a job, she was like the intern for her and sent her to the airport to meet her in Las Vegas, wherever this thing was, and then went through the trouble of making a fictitious confirmation number, setting up a flight time on an airline.
Let me ask you this.
And it was non-existent. She just sent her to the airport as like a fuck you in LAX.
It was non-existent.
Was.
My P32 modulator.
Yes.
Have you done a show? Have you done an event?
A live event?
That went sour? Because I have. I mean, I've been in kitchens where they are counting out my guarantee, and it's like $700 short.
Oh, I was in a. I can't remember what the town is, but it's right across. It's on the American side of Juarez, and at the time, Juarez was the murder capital of the world. And I remember Greg Sipes was there. Our friend Olivia Olson from Adventure Time. Kerrigan, I can't remember his last name. He was the guy who was like one of the voice of one of the bad guys on the Power Rangers. And this young, sweet guy Peter Mayhew was there, I think. This young, sweet guy through this convention. And no one went. And everyone had humongous guarantees. And if you don't know, like a guarantee is like you go to, this was a convention thing. So
you're guaranteed this amount of money.
Like they'll say, I'll give you $5,000. And if over the weekend you only make $4,500 from the people you're dancing on the pole for, the promoter will then make the difference up to you and give you $500 so that you are still leaving with $5,000. The point being, and the number could be anything, it's not $5,000. Nobody made their guarantee. This guy was suddenly now responsible for thousands and thousands of dollars. I love how
sweaty they get and how nervous and how
he was. And the two of the guys who were there, who were guests. I mean, I really thought there was going to be blood. I mean, no shit. And I went up to the guy after they had both. I mean, like grabbing him by the scruff. I said, you can pay me last. I said, but here's what I want. I am gifting you. You can pay me whenever you pay me. However, when I write you and ask you about it, I just want communication. I do not want to not hear from you. I understand this didn't go well. I understand you don't have $17,000 to give all these assholes tonight. I get all that. What I don't want, though, is if I write you an email in 3 weeks to see how it's going and what's going on, that you just do not respond to me. I said, so don't worry about it, because he came up, after the other two, he was like, how am I going to run her? I'm like, look, just don't worry about me right now. Go worry about those guys, because they will kill you. They are homicidal maniacs.
It's Peter Mayhew.
Yes, they are anime stars.
He can actually rip your arms off.
Oh, could swallow you. You'll be in his lower GI by midnight. He'll be shitting you out in the morning and picking his teeth with your bones. Yeah, that's the sound he makes as he's shitting out your guts. But yeah, that was a bad one, like in that respect. Well, you probably also have, I was telling my friend about this the other day, the interesting, like at the end of a concert show, how the promoter takes you in the back room and then shows you the book of like, here's all the newspaper ads I put in the paper, and here's the radio.
That happens to me.
They basically have to prove to you that they did in fact promote the show, so that you can't then go back and say.
Promoters these days just do one Facebook ad. They put some money into that, and that's all. It. That's all they have to do. There's no more interviews. There's no more newspaper. There's no more.
Oh yeah. Well,
none of that exists anymore.
I guess that's the plus. I guess the bad part is you put it on Facebook, like, but you really want to like show the people in wherever, Gary, Indiana, you're going to be there in 3 weeks. When you put it on Facebook, you're paying for millions of people to see it. So you're probably paying more.
No, you can do localized. I do localized.
Oh, yeah.
I do a set of localized ad. A lot of my fans know this story, but last year I accidentally bought an ad for $10,000 on Instagram.
Ooh.
And it's because I didn't. And the joke, I would start my show by telling the story. And the joke was that it happened to me because I didn't have my readers on.
Whoops.
And they were asking me, how much money would you like to spend on this ad? I said $500, thinking I'm a big spender. And turns out it said, how much do you want to spend a day?
Oh. Oh.
But you know what happened is that I had the best attended tour I've ever had. And I had so many people who didn't even know I was a rapper.
Last year, right?
Yeah. They didn't even know I was a rapper, and they just loved MCP Pants, and they're like, you rap.
So here's the question.
I reached this whole audience, and it really convinced me that I have possibly, most likely, millions of fans out there. I just can't reach them.
No, you don't want to reach them.
Well,
you're too cheap to reach them.
I am too cheap to reach them. I'm going to dole out a lot of cash for the ads for this next tour.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So
I learned.
Are you going to
I learned from a mistake.
Like this year, you're going to do $750 a day.
Well, no, I'm going to be a lot smarter than it, but I did realize that, like, Instagram is probably has more traffic than Facebook, because Facebook is a little bit more geriatric.
Instagram has, oh sure,
like more people are on that app than that app, but I'm gonna do an even spread is what I'm gonna do.
The thing with Instagram is they're like, if I go on an hour later after you put it up, it's not anything I really see it, right? Because there's like so many other things that are, I mean, you're always like looking at a scroll and you kind of see what's just at the top.
I think the way algorithms work is that it sees what you do and then it caters to that. So if you look at a friend's ad, you'll see that friend a lot. If you you scroll past somebody, you'll never see that person again.
Yeah.
Algorithm. And so a lot of times, and this is what I don't like about the modern era, is that I think people hate me or have forgotten about me, but they're just not being shown my posts because they haven't interacted with them in a long time.
Not to constantly talk about it, but I feel like that's like George Loitis. He thought nobody knew him or loved him or appreciated him.
Yeah, you have no idea what reality is.
That's right. And how could you?
Well,
especially us, we live in this digital stuff now.
Listen, when I was riding high and I thought I was king of the world, I wasn't the best person. It's like when things are going really well, your ego gets so puffed up, it's almost like you're on drugs. And so
But you were on drugs.
I actually was.
So you don't know. Maybe if you're just riding high but not on drugs, maybe you wouldn't be.
But it's
like
funny
that.
how like when you're popular, you are like that guy at the end of the con trying to pay everybody. You're like sweating. You're like running from place to place. You're like it's frantic.
You're like Brigham Young and the old or the other Joseph Smith getting run out on a rail of every town with his Book of Mormon tablets.
That reminds me of one time I went to a strip club after a show. Sometimes there'll be like a strip club. I mean, this did not happen often. This was maybe a one-time thing, but there was a strip club next to my hotel. So I checked into my hotel, and you get antsy after everything's settled, and
you're like, man, I need to see some deflated breasts.
I need to go experience the night. And I went to a strip club, got drunk, and it was one of those things where they brought a customer up on stage and it was their birthday and they rip off all of his clothes and he gets surrounded by strippers and they all just accost him, and the DJ was like, yeah, this guy's got a small dick for sure, or something. Jesus. He was saying something about him having a small dick, and I wrote on a napkin, you're an asshole and I should know I'm an asshole too. And I gave it to a stripper. I'm like, give this to the DJ, and then I left. I'm walking through the parking lot, 2 a.m., something like that. Guy busts out of the strip club, arms outstretched. What? You want to say that to my face? You want to do this? Let's go. I got the strip club DJ challenging me to a fight in a parking lot in the middle of the night because I touched a nerve. The guy's like so coked up. Anything would have set him off.
I remember being in Pensacola, Florida for a convention, and like 5 of the guys, there was just the rattiest. I don't like strip clubs. I don't like that place in Atlanta they all think is like a joke to go to.
Claremont Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got bad memories there.
I wish it was just a lounge. I don't need these Batwing Betty walking around and all all their little nicknames and they're all friends.
I don't need this pregnant crack addict.
Oh my God. Dave took me there thinking I was going to like love it. I was like, first off, I said, I hate strip clubs. I hate them.
I like my nipples nice and neat.
I think I've been there I've been to 3 of them. I've been to Claremont Lounge. I went to the one across from the Hard Rock Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. And I went to the one, there's one in my hometown of Easton, Pennsylvania, but it's on the Jersey side in Phillipsburg, right by the bridge.
A lot of guys are nodding right now who know exactly what you're talking about.
Terrible.
They're all just sad and depressing and disgusting.
I had a phase in when I lived in Philadelphia right after college where we'd go all the time, and we actually were friends with strippers, and they were dating our neighbors, and we'd all party together.
Weren't you just like blowing through money like nobody's business?
Yeah, the ATMs in a strip club are just like money trash bags.
I remember that one in Vegas. I didn't want to go. We were there doing a burlesque show. The music director, who was gay as the hills, and
hills are gay?
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen a gay hill? Whoa.
I've never experienced a gay hill.
Hanging out at these weird strip clubs too much. And the guy who I co-wrote the show with and the music with, the 3 of us went. He thought it was going to be great fun. I was like, I did not want to go. We went anyway because we were all sharing a car. It's okay. The ATM was $18 for the fee to get money out.
Oh, yeah.
I think a pack of cigarettes was like $25. And, apparently I've heard back now that this club was like the top shelf strip club in Las Vegas. It was like one of those real big ones, a real I can't even remember I can't remember what it's called. Like Plaza Gardens or something like that. Milford, no, not the Milford Plaza. I can't remember. Anyway, it was right across the street from the Hard Rock Hotel Casino. But, it was, my friend Zach, he spent years working as a bouncer as a titty bar. So he's got a lot of stories.
You bring up Zach almost every episode.
Yeah. Well, I've known him a long time. He's, not as much as I bring up Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But he was a bouncer in an Orange County strip club forever. It has some horrific stories. I mean, they're great, but they're...
I went and saw In and Out, which
Mm-hmm.
was a movie about Kevin Kline. Just he got struck by lightning and realized he was gay.
Yeah.
I saw this movie in Philadelphia, and
Was that Paul Rudnick wrote that?
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't know, but I felt very sexually confused after seeing this movie, and I'm like, that was a good movie. Wait a minute, I'm not gay.
I better go to the strip club. Knock this shit out of here.
I literally said that to myself. I said, I better go to a fucking strip club fast as I fucking can, like it's a mend urgent care.
Wow.
And so I'm like, let's go be straight. Let's go to a strip club and be as straight as we can. We're going to do some straight stuff. And so I go to the strip club, go to find a stripper that I like. And I'm picky. You think I'm picky about food?
Oh my God, I can't imagine if somebody's going to touch how picky you are.
And
Jesus.
So wait a minute. I get the champagne
You're
room.
picky about food, but you'll go to just any strip club.
No, I would try to find the nice ones, or I would know what the nice one was. But
Okay.
I went to the champagne room. Champagne. Grapes. This stripper's feeding me grapes, and I'm like, this doesn't feel straight.
Yeah, no.
And
that's like straight for an ancient Roman, which
I'm
they
feeling
did everything.
I'm feeling like Caligula, and she's feeding me grapes. I get wasted on this champagne.
Yeah.
I start crying.
That's gay. Now you're getting a real...
Yeah. I start crying, and I'm telling the stripper, I'm like, you shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have to do this for a living.
Just eat your fucking grapes, Romeo. Let's go.
She's no. What she said,
I'm off in 20 minutes.
What she said to me is, "It's okay. I want to be here." And I'm like, "No, you don't."
Nobody wants to be here. I walked in and I don't want to be here.
I was gayer somehow.
The problem with that movie is, clearly they could never make it now. In and Out. Because I remember thinking
it was made
about
by
this.
Frank Oz. Direct. That's why I went and saw it.
It was like an actor is winning the Academy Award for playing a gay guy. And he's like, I want to thank, this was amazing award. Thank you. And I want to thank my high school drama teacher.
Based on a real story.
I want to thank my high school drama teacher, Mr. Thompson. He's gay. And he says this on the Oscars.
And he taught me to be gay.
And then like, Kevin Kline is like engaged to a woman. He's got a regular life. And he's like, why would he say that? I'm not gay. But like on this guy's suggestion that he's gay, he then buys like a Are You Gay tape. And then so basically he just becomes gay because the guy, or he had, I guess, such deep-seated closeted feelings that only this guy, but it wasn't like a celebration of it, or it was just weird. Like, no, you could have a student just call you gay and then you'll become gay.
It was like Manchurian Candidate, where it was just it was in his system.
Cock and balls. What? Oh shit! I
said the magic words.
Yes.
I must have cock and balls in my mouth. Okay. So on that note, we'll end there.
What better way? Honestly.
But I'm going to read some reviews now.
Oh.
Okay, there's so many. So I've gone to Apple Podcasts to read a review.
Oh. Hey, I saw some of those today.
This is from Crinklebine 237. This was great. The back and forth between Dana and MC's sounds is very natural and free flowing.
Here's what I like. I like a lot of the names on there, but like Crinklebine, where there are 236 other Crinklebines.
The Bebop 42.
You know what I mean?
Been to MC Chris shows.
You're just ignoring me. I get it. Okay, all right.
Been to MC Chris shows and been watching Aqua TV.
I'm smiling while he ignores me. Okay, all right.
You make a valid point.
What are the numbers?
You make a valid point, Dana.
I'm just looking for some back and forth.
You get nothing but on this show.
Do they? Why do they put numbers at the end?
I'm seeing you so clearly with my glasses on. I had to put my glasses on to read these reviews.
Yeah,
and now I'm seeing every nook and cranny on your face.
Why don't you wear your glasses more often? Vanity? Maybe.
Well, because I think I don't need them unless I'm reading.
Oh, but you see me clearer.
But I think when Lens Crafters is like, do you want to come in and get an eye exam every year? I'm like, nah, you money grubbing bastards. I probably
your insurance.
I probably should go in.
You're probably paying to have that on your insurance and not even using it.
Probably.
Plus, the eye exam's the cheapest.
Can I
part.
read these reviews that you've demanded that I read?
I mean, I don't know.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, let's go. Get less flapping, more yapping.
Oh, Dave Willis just texted me.
What do you say?
He's well, he texted me yesterday and he said, "Oh my God, yes, there is a rapping spider. Oh my God, yes, is a new Adult Swim show. They have a rapping spider on their second episode." And I said to
Wow.
Dave, "Is this homage or
Oh.
ignorance?" And he's like, probably ignorance.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was funny. And he just says I should do some of those "Oh my God, yes" raps. But I couldn't watch the episode because I tried to like enter my Verizon passcode to like watch something on the Adult Swim website, but couldn't do it because I didn't have a cable provider.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, Adult Swim. You should let people watch everything for free, at least the first 3 episodes, or no one's going to be hanging out with you.
Yeah. What are they thinking? They used to
make it free.
Didn't they used to like they would just put it all up on the YouTube channel?
Just make it free. And, make all the millions that you make on the advertising and just make it free for the
They're
people.
all scrambling. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Been to MC Chris shows, and this is from Bebop, the Bebop 42.
41 other the Bebops.
Been to MC Chris shows and been watching Aqua Teen since forever, and Hesh was easily the best character on C-Lab. I love this review so far.
Yeah, this is your favorite. You're cherry picking.
I'm randomly looking at these. Love being able to support both Chris and Dana. This is really where you get to support us both in one clean swoop.
Just send money.
Yes, we have a GoFundMe. We made $80 last week. I'm pretty sure that number could be bigger.
Just for the record, every time we record one of these, people don't realize this costs over $7,500 just to record one of these.
It costs $90 every time we record a podcast, and I'm paying for it. Dana is not paying for it. And I'm buying his Cokes.
That's right. They're Diet Cokes, so that's
His
even
Diet
more
Cokes,
added plus on the cost.
which is extra. Love being able to support both Chris and Dana and hope for more episodes and more voice acting in the future. You'll get it from Dana. From me, I think it's done. I think we're
You're
done.
doing it right now. Don't give
But
up.
you know what? I'm not like some people where, things slow down or things end, and then I'm just like, hey, it's okay. I had a great run. I have other things going on. I'm going to be okay.
I
don't need to be in your shitty
about.
cartoon that's going to last a season or that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's when something's great and you're like, oh, I wish I was in that. I never feel that way.
Yeah. Well, it's that grass is always greener.
I mean, I would love to be in something like Amphibia or Gravity Falls or some really great Disney cartoon.
Big
just
City
not for
Greens.
money or not for fame, but just because I like to be a part of quality things. And with my early cartoons, I don't think they're very good, and I don't think I did a very good job.
Well, many people
The things I'm
disagree
famous
with
for,
that.
I'm like, oh man, that's the thing.
But you were in a thing. We were both in stuff that could not be replicated or made. We're like
A lot of pilots.
a boutique hotel
Yeah.
rather than a like Disney doing a show at Disney's like being at the flagship.
Four Seasons.
Right. We were like the weird, cool place that the bands who were in town would want to stay at.
We're at the Madonna Inn.
Yes, there you go. Only one Madonna Inn in the world.
I'm okay with not doing voice acting anymore. People hear Dana and I on this podcast and they think I would love to see them in a show. I would too. I think Dana and I have great chemistry. Would love to work with him. We never really have gotten to work together ever.
Yeah.
We've been on shows, but we've never been the two leads that are having back
We've
and forth.
never had reactionary lines to each other.
No. We're always in the same universe of whatever it is.
That's the thing with a lot of voiceover, though, especially now. I meet people.
For the first time at cons?
Yeah, and someone will say, "Oh yeah, you guys were in a show together." Like we're both like, "We were." Well,
I saw
how the hell would I know
I
that?
saw Eric Estrada in the parking lot
Oh,
at Christmas time at CVS. Right, just put my car in park, ran out of my car, ran over to his SUV. I said, "Mr. Estrada, My name is MC Chris. We were in a show called C-Lab. He's like, I've never met one of you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was
Especially
not
him.
long ago. It was like,
Yeah.
5 years ago.
I mean, at least he knew what it was.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've seen people like, you were on an episode of Aqua Teen. Who's like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Hope for more episodes and more voice acting in the future, even if not the characters we already know and love. Keep up the good work, guys. Also love hearing about the early Adult Swim days. We got such a big note in our YouTube comments. Thank you to everyone who's leaving us comments in YouTube and reviews on YouTube and everywhere. But this guy gave us producer notes.
Oh.
Executive producer
When you
notes.
say big, you mean like important or like just large,
annoying.
copious? Oh, okay.
Annoying. You are taking this far too seriously, sir. You guys, he's really just wrote a paragraph about how we need structure.
Was it S. Spielberg 48 at Universal Studios.com?
At Amblin.net.
Ramblin'. SS at Amblin.com.
You ever seen Sugarland Express? That's
Probably.
Spielberg's first movie.
No, I don't
great.
know. I think
Goldie
I have,
Hawn,
but I
and
don't
it has
really
like the
remember.
evil guy from Ghostbusters, and they're did a prison break, and
The old weird guy from Ghostbusters?
the guy who's like, I'm going to shut this place down.
Oh, I don't remember.
You were in violation of this, that, and the other thing. I hate Ghostbusters.
He's like the town
He was the
councilman or
bad guy
something.
on Die Hard. He was from the EPA. He's from the Environmental Protection Agency. And those guys are supposed to be nice.
Yeah,
They're
well.
supposed to love the planet. Okay, so that's another
So
one.
he gave lots of notes.
Yeah, and when there are some people if the email, there's a certain length of email where if it's too long of an email, I'm like, this person is struggling with existence.
And maybe the therapeutic way is to tell other people what they can do in their lives better.
Yeah. I think the really long emails always kind of scare me a little bit. And it's a little bit of a red flag.
A comment on there?
It was, well, no, yeah, you're right. It was
I'm asking,
it was a
like,
comment.
if I look, I'm trying to look this up.
Okay. Dana and Chris have natural chemistry together. And the show brings back a lot of fond memories of Adult Swim glory days. Great stuff. Jim Bob Hot Dog.
Yeah, baby. And you know what? There's only one Jim Bob Hot Dog. It's not Jim Bob Hot Dog 72.
If you want us to read your reviews on air, please write us. This show is everything I ever wanted. And I'm seeing that a lot from people. A lot of people are like, this is exactly what I need to have in my life right now.
All I can say to that is 2 words. Jesus Christ.
Well,
this is what you need?
Well, yeah. I mean, because we're kind of an antithesis to everything right now.
Okay.
Which I like that about us. This show is everything I ever wanted. My favorite MC and my favorite voice actor in one podcast. Plus, Dana is there. Ouch. You hear that? He just insulted you.
Yeah. I know you love that. That's your favorite thing.
Well, you're the king, and I am but a pawn.
No. See, that's your problem.
I'm a buttered prawn.
Oh, I get it.
JK, I don't know what we did to deserve this, but it came at just the right time. A lot of people are saying that in comments.
That's why we did it.
This is happening right when I need it.
All of it for
I think
no
a lot
one
of
who
people.
knows.
I think a lot of people are depressed.
Yep.
And feeling shitty.
And the only thing that makes them better.
TV's not good.
Here's how they feel better. Listening to us and Andy talk about our lives makes them realize their lives is not so bad.
Well, no, I'm also seeing a lot of comments saying, I feel like I'm hanging out with friends. So I feel like it's like a lot of people who are isolated probably feel like they're socializing.
Yeah. I found the comment, by the way.
With all the division out there, it's refreshing to have something to bring us together as humans who love a talking milkshake and an undying soul who inhabits the body of a human-sized spider, talking cow, and Dracula. Please. Oh, plus, yeah, all the music. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'm going to move over to Spotify and read it. I know this is probably, we're doing too much of this now, but now I can't stop.
Well, we got to, we'll save Spotify for next time.
Oh, okay.
Let's do that.
All right. Well, you can write a review on Spotify, write a review on Apple Reviews, leave a comment on YouTube.
Well, listen, that guy's number 2 point, audience engagement. Ask questions, ask opinions. As for input from your listeners, this will provide valuable feedback, gain some fun insights.
Like this one.
and potentially give you some content for the next episode.
Well, here's the thing about fans asking questions. I mean, I feel this way about guests too. I don't like it when it's not us talking to each other. And it's because what I love is I love kind of plotting out point. This led to this, and this led to this, and this led to this. Should I edit this out? No, because it's going to lead to this and this. And
here's
the payoff.
I don't think there's any problem with questions.
I know you do, but yet when I ask a question, and then we get some story about a guy throwing up. It's not that good.
We're gonna have
when we naturally, organically arrive at something, it's 1,000 times better. Trust me.
Maybe.
That's trust.
Yeah. Well, trust is two-way street. Listen, episode 50, you're gonna be wishing we
don't
had
make a
questions.
Michigan left on Trust Avenue.
Yeah. If we by episode 50. You'll be wishing we had a question.
Man, it's such a slow process. I feel like we'll never get to episode 10.
Could be. This might be the end right here.
This could be it.
The great
Dana, this has been amazing.
Receiving questions.
This has been amazing. I don't want to receive questions, although I do look at all the questions, and it does, and I will kind of lean towards things. People want to know about MF Doom. People want to know. They just want to know about MF Doom, and are we friends with him? That's all they want to know.
We answered that.
We already touched on that, and it's always a sad answer when you're asking voiceover actors anything. Like, what was your favorite? What was any question that begins? What was your favorite? I know it's not going to it's not going to lead to something.
See,
fun.
let me clarify. I like questions. I always like whenever we do a podcast or whenever I've done a podcast, getting the audience engagement. But I don't like questions pertaining to the obvious things.
Yeah,
I'm great at. Listen to this. I'm great at relationship advice, career advice. Oh, yeah. You have no clue. This is because you don't know me that well. You haven't seen some of the...
That's what I like about this podcast is getting to know you.
I don't match them. I patch them.
I know.
I've prepared
you've said that
a
already.
lot of... I know.
Listen, the cat's a pissing.
So you should know
You're starting to turn into Mrs. Colder.
No,
I love that her name was Mrs. Colder. Like, you couldn't imagine a colder name.
Couldn't be, otherwise she'd just be Miss Frozen.
Yeah.
I did know a lady whose last name was Froze.
Mrs. I'm a fucking bitch.
Yeah, Mrs. I can't say that. Even that's too explicit.
Mrs. Cunt? Are you trying not to say cunt?
Well, going to go more than that, but...
What's more than cunt?
It doesn't matter.
Please tell me. No. I'll cut it out.
No, I don't want you to cut anything out of this.
God.
This should be like the radio show.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to cut down on your workload. All right, speaking of cutting down, this has been None of This Matters with Dana Snyder and MC Chris. Thank you so much.
Are you a jazz?
No, I'm an NPR
jazz radio host?
I'm here with Terry Gross, and
and that was Mahler's.
Yeah.
Third composition that he ever did.
I
love how classical music is so poorly titled.
Next time, just number.
A fugue in B.
You know what because... All right, we got to stop.
From Puccini.
Puccini? Hey, it's me, Puccini. I write you a song, my precious.
Why is he Gollum?
No, he invented it, precious.
He's a vagina Gollum.
Yeah. My precious.
The worst kind.
Hey.
If you take a hobbit and you put him in a cave, he turns into a fucking freak.
Is Gollum supposed to be a...
I hate to go to a hobbit prison. Everyone's just like...
Well, they're talking like Jar Jar Binks.
No, that's not what happens. They're all Gollum in a prison.
Yeah, but they all talk like that.
Is Gollum like Jar Jar? Do you just think every CGI character is the same thing?
Vocally, he sounds like Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks is like, what are you thinking? We're going to have a problem.
Yeah, he's like, me so sorry. Yeah, me precious.
But Gollum sounds like
he's an emaciated Jar Jar Binks.
I'm the one that's got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next week, Dana.
That's right. I'll see you next week. Enjoy your pee.
Then I'll be right back.
Quick question. Is it a 1 or a 2?
It's a 3. Hey, this is MC Chris here again to tell you to go to mcchris.com to check out my tour dates for this summer. Tickets and info, everything you're going to need is right there at mcchris.com. 45 shows going everywhere. If we're not coming to your town, let me know. Or if you're a venue who wants to have a show on a day I have a day off, write me at mcchrisbooking@gmail.com. Go to mcchris.com and go check out my tour dates for my big celebrating 20 years of touring tour this summer. I hope I see you out there. Thank you so much for letting me do this for 20 years. That's crazy. I never thought I would hold a job for that long, but you've let me do just that. So I hope to see you out there. Go to mcchris.com and check it out. Thanks. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Bye.